You're looking at a live shot outside the courthouse in New York City, where the now former IMF chief Dominique Strauss-Kahn is ready to appear before a judge. His lawyers are asking that he do be released on bail for $1 million in cash. Remember, he was rejected for bail last week. All right, let us bring in Susan Filan, former Connecticut state prosecutor and defense attorney, who's going to talk about this as well. All right, Susan, listen, we have seen people who have committed crimes that some would consider more severe than Dominique Strauss-Kahn. He has resigned from the IMF. Some say that is not a flight risk. Others have received bail. Do you believe that Strauss-Kahn should receive bail?
Well, the test for whether he should receive bail is really two-pronged. It's whether he's a flight risk and whether he's a danger to the community. And when he was first presented, his attorneys couldn't get a package together to satisfy the court to ensure his appearance. They've had some time to put something together. And it's not just the cash part of the bail. They've also got to ensure the judge that some kind of house arrest with electronic monitoring, some kind of private service, something like what Bernie Madoff had, that would probably put this judge far more at ease to show that he's going to stay around for his future court appearances. I believe he's already surrendered his passport. I believe he's already surrendered his travel papers. What was so alarming to the court was that he was on a flight about to go back to France. France doesn't have an extradition treaty. So if he goes back to France, he's gone. I mean, we just won't see him again.
Well, exactly. I mean, a lot of people are now drawing comparisons with Roman Polanski, who was charged with sexual assault back in 1977, then did exactly that. He fled to France and, you know, no one could bring him back. So do you think that actually makes it harder now, therefore, DSK?
Well, I don't think DSK has a way to get back to France without a passport, without travel papers. If he's under house arrest with an electronic bracelet, with video surveillance to show when he leaves, who comes in, who goes out. If the court's satisfied that he really can't leave and he really can't flee, then he's not a flight risk. And I don't think he's a danger to the community. So I think if the court were satisfied that those conditions were met, I do think the court would entertain this motion for bail very, very seriously, and I think there's a high likelihood that he may be granted bail. As you pointed out rightly so at the beginning, people who've committed or who've been accused of far more serious crimes have been admitted to bail.
Yes, Susan, listen, there's a number of rumors going around the internet about what Dominique Strauss-Kahn's defense strategy may actually be. Does that defense strategy, whatever it is, play into a judge's decision? In other words, could Dominique Strauss-Kahn's lawyer say, hey, listen, he thought it was this, he thought it was that, you know, he admits that it happened perhaps, but it was a misunderstanding to some of the internet rumors that are going on around right now. Does that play into the judge's ultimate decision?
No, not at all. He's innocent until proven guilty. He's got the presumption of innocence attached to him in a court of law, if not in the court of public opinion, if not in the press. So, no, the fact that he initially said alibi, you know, I wasn't there, to it wasn't me, to, well, okay, it might have been me, but she wanted it. The fact that we've had multiple defenses changing rapidly in the course of 24 hours means absolutely nothing to the judge. That's what defendants are supposed to do. They're supposed to try to get out of it. And, you know, consent is a very typical defense in an alleged or attempted sexual assault case. So, no, that has no bearing on this whatsoever. The only purpose of bail is to ensure that he shows at court. It's not punitive. It's not a preemptive punishment. It's just make sure the guy comes to court and stands trial.
Does the fact that he's resigned now from the IMF officially have any bearing on this? I mean, before, while he was still essentially head of the IMF, could he have had more support from the international or diplomatic community, or have they essentially cut their ties now?
I think it made him potentially or arguably a greater flight risk, because while he was in such a position of great influence, I mean, he controlled the purse to lend money essentially to the world, people may have been more likely to try, arguably, to help him flee if that was possible. Now that he doesn't have that position of power, what's it to gain for anybody to try to help him? So I think it minimizes the argument, at least, of flight risk.
Susan, we'd like for you to stick around if that's possible. We could get a bail decision any minute now. So Susan Filan will stick around if that's cool. We're going to bring you up as soon as we get the news, which could be really any moment now.
Indeed it will. Also just ahead on Street Signs, a little buzzkill on the LinkedIn IPO hoopla as we take a stroll down IPO memory lane.